Welcome back, everybody. It's what day are we on today now? Wednesday. Tuesday, Wednesday. And we're back with another round of live streaming Hans van der Kwast and Kurt Menke's book. If you haven't watched the previous streams, then you might want to go and check them out for a bit of context. Basically, I'm working through the QGIS tutorial book, step by step, chapter by chapter, and trying to do it as fast as I can, although as you'll see if you watch last night's one, doing it fast isn't always a good idea because you make more mistakes. But the idea is basically just to work through the book, do all the exercises, learn stuff, experiment, try new things, have some fun, all that good stuff. Yeah. So last night we got to a point where we kind of had some sites selected, some wells selected, and I went through some trials and tribulations to get those wells selected because I repeated some steps and that caused some issues. I found a couple of bugs. I definitely did some wrong things. But that's all part of learning and doing stuff, right? You learn from your mistakes as well as from your successes. So it was all good, and I'm looking forward to jumping into the next section. I'm just going to wait a minute or two because I just sent out the tweet. Last night we had about 180 something people watching, which I honestly quite surprised that so many people would find watching somebody else use QGIS working through a tutorial would find that interesting, but not that I'm not happy that they found it interesting. Maybe you're like working and you just want to listen to me chat away while you're doing your work or something. That's also fine. I'm happy to keep you company. Right, so I'm just getting dataset folder prepped over here. We're still in chapter 3. I'm going to pull up a screen share in 1 second. Check how our feed's doing. Just a few housekeeping things again. If you do want to chat to me, chat using the YouTube stream chat if you don't mind, because I can't watch all the other chat programs at the same time. So here we go, we're going to jump in. We got our QGIS actually still in exactly the same place where I left off last night. And if you want to chat to me, just feel free to just type stuff in the chat. I'll just say quickly hi here. You can see I'm already here. Alright, so let's just look again what we made last night. We made a new layer, basically, this accessible wells layer, which was like the result of all our hard work. And in this layer, this legend is really kind of strange, isn't it? It goes from 1 to 1. Now, I don't know what the sense of that is, but in this layer, these 3 sites have all got a value of 1. Excuse me. These are well locations, and then everything else is no data. And I had bookmarked the place in the book, but I seem to have put it in the wrong place. But so I think we were about to go and turn this layer into a vector layer. So so we're at the point where we're going to convert the raster cells to point vectors. So obviously these cells, if we take the measure tool here, they have got a size of around about 50 meters. So if we're taking a point is like actually inherently got no size, right? It's just the location and there's no specific size. But the point we take will be in the center here. So that's something to bear in mind, that there's going to be some geographical inaccuracies introduced in the process, because the wells originally were points. The well might have been here, and it paints the whole cell black, and then we converted it to a raster, and we converted it back to a point. So, but I think that's academic for this exercise. Okay, so we're going to go to the vector tools in the raster toolbox, and we're going to say, we're going to go to the raster tools and say vector creation. Let's have a look here. So processing toolbox, and we're going to go vector creation. You've got this whole group of tools here that you can do various things from rasters, but he wants us to use raster pixels to points, which is pretty logical, right? So we're turning these pixels into points, and the name is pixels to points, so that's nice and straightforward. Now we're going to use our accessible wells layer, the value field. Let's see if he wants, we're going to call field name is going to be called accessible. I wonder if it's going to turn the whole raster into point, just the no data. I think it should just do just the non-no data field. Let's have a look. We're going to call that accessible, and we're going to write this out to, I think he said we're going to do a shapefile. Yep, we're doing it to a shapefile. I'm going to call it wells. So, save to file, chapter 3 shapefile, and we're going to call it wells. And nothing else to do, so we can click run, and we're going to now have a new point layer with the point at the center of each of these pixels. Now that's not so easy to see. I know it's coming in the tutorial anyway, but I'm just going to go straight away, just for the benefit of you watching at home, trying to see what's going on the screen. Just going to make that kind of big and kind of some bright red color or something like that. Hopefully that's a bit easier to see. Okay, so we've got a new layer. I'm going to save my project, and the next step along the way is now we're going to sample raster values. So the point vector layer wells only contains the field accessible, which is whether it's accessible from the road distance and so on. However, we could include more information in the attribute table using the point sampling tool plugin. I thought there was a native tool that would do this as well. So I wonder I'm going to go a little bit off the reservation here. Sample raster value. So I wonder why he's using a plugin. Maybe the plugin does some extra goodies. It would probably let you do multiple rasters in one go, and this is probably one at a time. Yeah, this only does one at a time. So Hans wants to save us some trouble by using this tool, so let's go find it. It's called the point sampling tool. We're going to install that. Alright, and let's add a little icon over here. So now we can actually go and sample a whole bunch of things. So let's see what he wants us to sample. He wants us to do select all layers with field bands to get values from, and select the output point vector layer to wells final. And then he's got a list of all the things he wants to get the values from. So we're going to get the well values, the elevation, the knot deep, the well depth, the industry 300, roads 150 meters, houses, and groundwater level. So basically everything that I put in, I think this folder here, that one, that one, that one, that one, and maybe some of these as well he wants. Let me just work through them carefully. Last night we learned about how important it is to be methodical. So wells, wells is from the original input layer. Okay, wells is the source point. So, okay, then DTM first. Let me just turn off everything here, and I'll tick them on one by one. I'm going to try to be really methodical to go through this so I don't get anything screwed up. So DTM is an input layer, there's DTM. And then we're going to go not deep, it's one of our intermediate layers that we made. Well depth, that was the one where we calculated the wells by subtracting the terrain from the well. Int 300 meters on there. Roads 150 meters. That one there. Houses 150 meters. And GW level, groundwater level. That one there. So those are the layers he wants us to sample. And then we're going to open this tool here. Okay, so that's our list of things to sample. And I'm going to make a new layer called Wells Final. And we're going to put that into a shapefile again as well. We need to select one polygon. I haven't actually selected them all. So, yeah, I'm going to select all those. Add created layer. Still going to a geo package even though I chose a shapefile. Wells underscore final. There we go. And let's do it. These two field names are the same. Just going to try to fix that here. Okay, shapefile. So let's see if it likes that. Okay, so I think it's done. Now if we open this, we should have a nice big attribute table with all the extra details. I wonder how useful that is, because everything we know is one because of our analysis we did, which sort of only selected areas where everything was one. We got the well depth and the groundwater level and the elevation, which is interesting, and the one has actually got a building on it as well. Alright, so we're going to have a look at the results page here. Okay, so he did all the original wells So I missed a step somewhere. He used the whirls, not the whirls that I made. Let me see here quickly. Let's get rid of that one. And this was the whirls, just the looked up ones from the... but I was supposed to do this from all of the whirls, not just the result whirls. Okay, I got it. I didn't read that carefully, so we'll go back here. I'm going to look for our whirls layer. I guess it's this one here. And then we try to generate the point again. Vector creation, raster pixels to points, and we're going to go and use well depth rather. Should give us all of the wells, and then we do that, and we go here and we replace this one here. Okay, and run that. Let's have a look now. Put it above everything else. One more time, we'll lift it up. Okay, so we can see those yellow points on all the well sites, and I'm just going to go and make that style a bit bigger so it's easy to see. Alright, and we're going to now do the same process, but using the whole selection. So we can write that out to wells final. Unfortunately, that plugin does not remember your last used working directory. Okay, so now we're going to run it again. We're going to extract all the raster values for all the well sites. Now we're going to deal with this again. Alright. And now we've got another new layer here. So we're again going to make bigger. Make that a different color. It looks pretty much like the old color. Okay, and then so now we've got this layer, and every wrong one. Every point should have a bunch of extra attributes associated with it. Okay, that's awesome. So then we can see there's the wells where there were the site selection criteria was true, all the ones over here, and then we can see all the different pieces of information for the other cells. So see, you can see some of them met some of the criteria, but not all. Some of them met none of the criteria, and then these few met all of the criteria for our building or our well placement model. Okay, so we can look at the table. We've done. Okay, now we're going to style the analysis results. Now we can style the layers that we want to present. The first step is showing the results. Will be this to style the well's final data by whether the wells are accessible or not. Okay, so he's going to make a categorized style. So here we're going to go to this one. We're going to change this to categorized, and we're going to start it on accessible, or I think we can do an access. No, on accessible. Okay, and so the blue ones are not accessible, and the red ones we can make green are accessible. Okay, green, and let's make the other one red. Okay, cool, that's easy enough to do. And then we're going to put some effects on here. So this is just fun stuff now. Like you don't have to challenge your brain too much, you just get to play with some cartography. We're going to go here and apply a draw effect. I'm going to put a drop shadow on, and anything he wants us to do, reduce the offset to 1. And anything else? I don't think so. Okay, I think that's all he wants us to do. So now we've got these, I need to do it for both of them. I think I could have actually done it up here. Yeah. I'm just going to go take the other one off so it doesn't get applied twice. Okay, so everything's got a drop shadow underneath it. Great. Okay, now we're going to put on some labels for this, for these sites. We're going to give it the name of, we don't actually have the names. So what does he want us to do with the labels? I'm going to use a labeling expression similar to that used in the end of the Preparing Data for Hard Copy Maps chapter on page 29. We'll set the expression up so labels read something like well depth 76.4 meters. So we should be able to just go there and then look at the recent ones and find I think that one will do it. And then we want to change this to, say, well depth, and then this is going to be meters. Oh, here let's put the field that we want to use. We're going to need the format number function. So let's go here. Format number. And then put it before the well depth field. So well depth. This one here, and then the number should be formatted to 1 decimal place, or to 2 decimal places, like that. And then I think we can get rid of this and just have that as meters. I don't think we need a space after we do this, so we can get rid of that too. Okay. It says the expression is invalid. I need to figure out why now. This, I should be using single quotes. Alright. That's how our expression looks. Is it valid? No, not yet. well depth not found. I'm just going to go and have a look at that table again. We do have a column called well depth here. What's wrong with my expression? Let's have a look. I didn't like this one as well. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so now we get a nice little sentence saying well depth : 67.58 meters. We do that, we can see the well depth printed next to every well. Okay, and then I think I've done everything that they want me to do for that. We can change the placement and stuff. So he's suggesting to use the offset tool here, put it like something like this, and then just increase this a bit, just so that it doesn't collide with the point. Like that way there. Okay. Great stuff. So I think this is going to be a short session because I think that's the end of the chapter more or less. But I think there's one more thing. It's going to make a hill shade. So great stuff. So we've got the label placed. I'm going to just save my work there. So we want to put something behind these wells, which is more interesting than what we're seeing at the moment. So we're going to look at the input layers. We have the DTM over here. Let's just hide the rest of these things. I think that's what we're going to use. Okay, so DTM layer, yeah, and I'm going to set it to single band pseudo color in the styling here. Then he wants us to create a new color ramp here, so we're going to pull this down, say create new color ramp. I'm going to go to CPT City, and then we need to search for the topography category over here. Then let's choose SDA. There we go. And then we get a nice looking layer like that. It's got a nice little tip about saving that color ramp to your style library. Then we're going to set the blending mode to multiply and duplicate this layer and turn the other one into hill shade. So we're going to go here, we're going to say duplicate layer. This second one we're going to put it into hill shade renderer like this. This one we're going to set the blending mode to multiply. Then it will sort of shine the terrain through. That doesn't look so great. I think we need to use cubic convolution and see if we bilinear sampling for the zoomed in here. Whoopsie. We need to do that on both, I guess. Okay, I've got something nice and smooth looking. I think that's the end of that chapter. Let's see, set zoom to bilinear, blah blah blah. We're all done. It's a very short one. Last night's one, I was sitting here for an hour and a half or 2 hours maybe, but I stopped halfway in the chapter, so I'm going to stop there, and then tomorrow night we'll carry on with stream catchment delineation, which is going to be quite exciting to do. I hope you enjoyed this rather brief hangout tonight, and I'll be back with more tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody.